Would you like to learn why I believe that Dowge has got the potential to 10,000x in 2025 from a 40 million market cap to $1 trillion? As usual, nothing I say is to be construed as financial advice. Crypto is largely unregulated and high risk, and people who invest should be prepared to lose all their money, and everything I say to you in this video is for informational and educational purposes only. I believe in late 2025 to early 2026 we are going to be seeing the meme coin super cycle. Meme coins, which is the brown coloured line, has already outperformed every single narrative. Bitcoin, DeFi, RWA, smart contracts, GameFi, DePIN, AI coins, DEX coins, and exchange tokens. Because meme coins are the most normie friendly tokenized communities of loyal, obsessed, and present fans, and so that builds a foundation for new holders to increase the value and holder size. Out of the 10 high performing cryptocurrencies in this market cycle, 6 of them have been meme coins, and these coins are mainly commercial, mascot, and TradFi cryptocurrencies. Meme coins are the most user-friendly, they're the most relatable, they're the easiest to understand. In my 8 years of investing in every single cryptocurrency type, this is the one that gets the greatest adoption, the greatest excitement, and if the coin does it right, the greatest diamond-handedness. In addition to the meme coin super cycle, I believe that Q4 2025 to early 2026 is going to herald euphoria stage, the end of the post-halving year. The post-halving year is typically the most violent for altcoins. And I believe this could happen anytime between September 2025 and February 2026. I believe that the most outstanding gains, the 100 to 1000 X's, are going to come from strong meme and AI cryptocurrencies. Meme coins, just purely because when the masses come in the final part of euphoria, they are likely to gravitate towards meme coins because they're the most normie friendly, easy to understand, the most fun, evoke the most passion, and then AI coins because of mainstream influence like ChatGPT. The biggest ROIs in cryptocurrency have come from meme coins. Okay, this is the only area in cryptocurrency where you see people turning $16 into 3 million in 2 weeks, or where you see $8,000 turning into 5.7 billion in 6 months. SafeMoon. This was a 14 million X. Then we have WIF. This was this market cycle's massive multiplier. Pepe was also huge, 2.6 million X. Shiba, 1 million X. And SPX6930, a 700,000 X. That means if you put $1 into SafeMoon at the beginning, you could have turned that into $14 million. Meme coins are where you make life-changing gains. In the past, if you were a meme coin that had great commercial value, had a cabal of insiders, and an idea that really took off, you could make it as a meme coin. But now we are in an era where there are millions of meme coins. Meme coins is such a huge category that they are made up of subsections. The majority are pretty much worthless, non-cult, non-sticky community type of cryptocurrencies. And that's why most of these are now in the meme coin graveyard. But the more sticky, the more belief-based that you are, the more likelihood there is of huge growth, particularly when it is such a rarity to find movements and missions. In history, movements have been very memorable. Everybody knows the most historic movements. For instance, Woodstock, feminism, Black Lives Matter. This started out in the US and then became a global movement. It stuck, it resonated, and it was relatable to a big section of people. The Me Too movement, and then Bitcoin, of course. All of these historic movements came from the unified power of community. That means there was a segment of society that was uncatered for, and they found some meaning, significance, and something to fight for once this movement made their voices heard. And this is where we come to a movement that is required today. And that is the huge wealth gap that exists. The silent generation and baby boomers have enormous amounts of wealth built by investing in stocks, investing in properties, when there was still the gold standard. When everything was measured against the gold standard, it meant that house prices were not far off salaries. But ever since we went off the gold standard in the 70s, what's happened as a result is that assets are out of reach to afford, let alone make money from. And that's why you can see silent generation and baby boomers have a lot of money, and millennials, stroke Gen Z, which is the latest generation, aren't even able to get on the housing ladder, aren't able to accumulate anything or own anything that gives them enormous wealth like previous generations. So global inflation has made cost of goods higher, and going off the gold standard, increasingly year after year has made purchasing power weaker. The stock market, i.e. the Dow Jones, the SPX 500, they provide tiny upside. Yes, the stock market, if you're in the right assets, does outperform inflation, but it doesn't make anywhere near the generational wealth that will allow for millennials and Gen Z to catch up with baby boomers and the silent generation. And as a result, people are slaves to the 9 to 5 and not be able to afford anything for decades and decades of saving. Today, there is a massive connection gap. There's increased loneliness, and as a result of loneliness, mental health decline. Because nobody's really truly connected anymore. Back in the 80s, 90s, and earlier periods, you spoke to people. You generated close personal relationships with people. You went out with them. You spoke with them on a one-to-one. Now with the rapid growth of social media, now you don't have to meet people outside. You can just talk to people online. Social media and online tools. So people who want to date, they don't need to go out and try and meet somebody face to face anymore. Like, they can just go on something like Tinder, and then you get matches that are based on artificial standards, like, is a person tall enough, fit enough? Does a person's face look nice, rather than the personality? And what we've got in society is just division and conflict. Between genders, if you go on X, there is so much racism, the division and conflict between people generally, across many different reasons, is growing and getting much more violent, much more aggressive. And it doesn't help that we have political figures that exacerbate this. There's a massive spiritual gap as well. We've got ads showing us really neat stuff you can buy, and you think, oh, I like that. You see something on TikTok, you go into TikTok shop, that's only like $3. Normally it costs about $15. So I'm going to buy like 3 of them. So people are now just buying stuff. It's all about materialism and gratification, because you buy something, you feel good, right? And so there's greater emphasis on possessions and less emphasis on inner growth and moral standards. There's a decline in God as a religious figure, as a spiritual icon. And as a result, religious focus in schools is going down. Idolizing celebrities, looking in magazines and thinking, I want to be that person, and therefore having false idols. And some of these celebrities even have images of satanic worship, right? So what you're seeing is people actually moving away from God into more like evil. And then what you've got is online sexual gratification, So what you've got is people, instead of developing natural connections with, their girlfriends, wives, boyfriends, all that kind of thing, what they're doing is they're resorting to, well, as you can see, online sexual content, right? In order to get gratification. And as a result of that increases the emptiness of people and therefore creates this spiritual gap that continues to get worse and worse. There's a breakdown of the nuclear family. What you've got now is more single parent homes with single mothers. You've got fragmented lives as well within the family home. So even if you've got, a full household, one person could be watching Disney, the other person could be watching YouTube, the other person could be watching Netflix. So now what we've got is a society of online zombieism where, you're just watching stuff, you're looking at ads and buying stuff. Like, there's no real deep spiritual connection. Now is where we hit closer to home, the crypto gap. Influencers mostly focus on blue chip cryptocurrencies. Your Ondos, Hyperliquid, Chainlink, Render, XRP, Bitcoin, Ethereum. Okay? And what that does is it actually increases the wealth gap between rich and poor, because the rich people, the VCs, the founders, the influencers who all get fantastic discounts and great deals, they become rich, but the people that they encourage to buy these particular blue chips, they don't get rich. Okay, they may outperform the stock market, but they don't necessarily make a lot of money. Like most of the really big influencers, they just talk about Bitcoin and Ethereum and maybe a couple more blue chips. And although they are safer investments, they certainly will not generate any kind of generational wealth where people can buy houses, own assets, own nice cars, appreciating value cars. They just can't do that. Overvalued launches and token unlocks. Like, I remember in 2022, 2023, we had the likes of Arbitrum and Optimism coming out and going straight into the billions. Like, there was no opportunity to make lots of money. You know, back in 2020, you had the likes of, you know, Phantom, Solana, you know, Luna doing huge multipliers, but you don't get that anymore. You know, everything starts off already very big, and it makes all the people that were early investors and VCs and influencers rich already, you know, and it just makes the retail exit liquidity. Gambling and trading. Like, if you are in the trenches, 8 times out of 10, you are going to lose. You're going to get rugged, you're going to get wrecked. And because of increased coin production, people don't hold anymore. You know, people hold for an average of 40 seconds. So the mindset gets corrupted. So what you are seeing is there is a massive problem across society. So previously, what the problem was in cryptocurrency is, what can the blockchain solve? You know, what technologies can make life better for people? But actually, there is a much bigger problem, which is loneliness, lack of spirituality, decayed family environments, and a lack of inclusion and community. And this is where I present to you Dowge, DJI6930, and why I believe this has enormous potential given the issues with society and its impact upon the normal human being.
Welcome to Dowge, people's answer to an outdated financial relic, a new index. Forged not by Wall Street, but by the people. The index to flip the Dow Jones. 30 real projects storm the gates under one banner. DJI6930. This isn't just a token. It's a bold stand against the traditional stock market, embodying the chaos and energy of the new economy, weaponized into a token. And it lives on Solana, where the lies can't hide. Dowge is the index for the people.
So DJI6930 is a movement coin. It is one of those rare cryptocurrencies. This is looking to flip the Dow Jones 30. The Dow Jones is made up of the 30 most successful companies in the US, with a total market cap of $20 trillion. And you can see the main companies right here: Nvidia, Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, Goldman Sachs, McDonald's, Disney. And what Dowge is looking to do is it's looking to flip the Dow Jones combined market cap value. Now, the point of Dowge is to provide a spiritually pure objective. The Dow Jones has made the 1% of wealth. This is a purely elite group of people that control money, and the power is in their hands. And it's because of this wealth inequality that GameStop happened. This was a poor versus rich conflict, and in the end, the poor won. And it was a fantastic victory. And that value proposition emanates within DJI6930. Destroy the wealth gap, and like Bitcoin, make finance equal and available to everyone and give the potential for generational wealth to its holders. Now, something that you can see about movements is that this has the greatest speed of adoption amongst all commodities and assets, and is purely on an emotional level. Yeah, it's up here and down here, right? It is the heart, the soul, and the brain. Okay, these are stimulated by movement coins more so than any other type of asset.
We must rise against the architecture of greed. Our wealth inequality is not a fate, it's a weapon. Dowge is here to disarm it.
This combines a commercial meme mascot, which is a Shiba Inu, with a TradFi entity, which is the Dow Jones. Dowge, in essence, is Dogecoin mixed with the Dow Jones, therefore creating a perfect symbiosis of dog mascot and TradFi coin. Now, the name, logo, and branding is designed to appeal to both degens, the common man, with the dog mascot, something that is relatable, has been seen before, and works with TradFi, which is very much a neglected segment of crypto, because crypto is mostly either for degens and meme coins or for TradFi with bigger blue chip cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum. So they are not invited into meme coins. And this is where DJI6930 is perfect, because this is TradFi friendly. They will recognize the ticker of DJI. So this talks their language and capture a market completely untapped and uncatered for in the meme coin market. And Dowge, as a movement coin, provides a spiritual, structural, social, and inspirational substance. You are taught to hold. There's consistent messaging and viral memes being shared, which I'm going to be showing you in a moment. And all of this gives people the security to hold and not gamble. It's not your average meme coin which blend in with all the tens of thousands that are being created on a daily basis. This is an identity coin because you identify with the mission, right? You want to become rich. You want to have as much opportunity to generate wealth as the top 1%. So you stand for something by being part of DJI6930 with a serious and ambitious end goal, which is flipping the Dow Jones in value. Because it demolishes the generational wealth gap between baby boomers, millennials, and Gen Z. It's a rejection of the elitist financial system and actually creating a system where people can go from poor to rich in a short space of time. You know, where people can finally afford to buy a really nice car, a really nice house, and save for the future, save for future generations. With DJI6930, there are some strong tenets that you abide by when you are a holder. Believe always, there is no sell. They broadcast. You only have to look at social media. You only have to go to your average YouTuber's comments and you will see Dowge all over it. One DJI6930 is no longer 4 cents like it is now, but actually $29,999. So there's a spiritual foundation, manifesting belief, faith, inclusivity, mixed with finance. So finance, you'll probably know the meme. 6'5", works in finance, blue eyes, trust fund, right? So it is seen as an elite institution where the top of society are the ones making money and all the people that are poor and looking to make money never get a chance because they never get the opportunities. So this has got a real spiritual foundation. It inspires people to hold and therefore become rich. It empowers collective participation. They reject price watching. It's not about charts or technical analysis. It's just holding, believing, and broadcasting. So you're no longer gambling. Like a lot of the people that go on deck screen are looking for opportunities, they're just gambling. They're throwing their money away into opportunities that's probably going to wreck them or rug them. So what you do here is you don't gamble, you simply hold, and then the community compounds on each other. Now this has only been out 3 weeks and has amassed 15,000 hodlers and 1 big exchange listing. So this is still extremely early, extremely young, and only a 40 million market cap at this point. The other benefit is this is fully diluted. So this is not one of those cryptocurrencies that has huge token unlocks, makes VCs, founders, and influencers really rich because there are no shills. Everybody is striving to achieve the community mission, and that is what encourages holding because unlike most cryptocurrencies, there is a financial target. This satisfies the hierarchy of needs. It doesn't matter your race, your gender, or your financial viability. It's for everyone. It's open. It's to make everybody rich, particularly those striving to make it, those striving to finally invest in the next Shiba, the next whiff. Feeling of being loved and belonging to a community. Not only is this a meme coin, a movement coin, a cult coin, but this is a coin to improve your mental health. And where do you see that anywhere in cryptocurrency? So DJI6930 really stands for a lot. This has got a logo that even Wall Street would identify with because it's got that kind of aggression, that assertiveness. But it's for the people, not for the elite, right? So it's got the same kind of look and feel for TradFi to get interested in, but with a value proposition that is appealing to normal degens and to actually give them a fighting chance of making generational wealth. The ticker as well has got strong TradFi notes with the DJI RWA. So just like Housecoin, which is basically an RWA meme coin, DJI6930 is the exact same because you have got exposure to something that resembles a real world asset. This is something that is looking to flip the Dow Jones. It's a crypto TradFi disruptor, just like Bitcoin. It's an identity cryptocurrency. People feel part of the mission. They want the mission to succeed. They will help the mission to succeed. Now, when you are a member of Dowge, you are Dowge. Okay, you are Dowge because you are looking to overthrow a dead system, an elite dinosaur. This is one of the few types of meme coins that you can personally identify with. Can you identify with Pepe? Are you a frog? Can you make frog sounds? Do you want to make frog sounds? No. Okay, so you can't identify with most meme coins. And part of that identity is being in that poor versus rich rebellion. Okay, just like the people that got involved in GameStop. Okay, you are doing the exact same with DJI6930. And it's a counterculture cryptocurrency. So what I mean by that is just like Woodstock, right? So Woodstock was a rebellion against war. Okay, it was meant to be the antithesis of war, just like punk was a movement that rebelled against the riches, the decadence, and the greed of the 80s. So punk was a movement in antithesis against the culture of the time, hence counterculture, and same as DJI6930. There's an acceptance that millennials and Gen Z will own nothing and be happy, right? So this is a way of going against that culture, and that's why DJI6930 is a strong counterculture cryptocurrency. Now, when you are a member of DJI6930, you can put these symbols next to your name, just like many have on X, and even people from SPX. Like, SPX has gotten diluted by DJI6930 because this is a strong, radical movement with very strict guidelines. Do not sell. Do not analyze the charts. Do not look at the charts. Just believe in the end goal. And it's a collective player versus environment movement versus a player versus player gamble. So when you're on Deck Screener, basically you are against all of the holders of that particular coin, right? Of a particular meme coin, right? They are all trying to profit while everybody else loses. It's a zero-sum game. Every person that wins, somebody loses, all right? And that's why 8 out of 10 people get wrecked with these gambles. Whereas if you're in a player versus environment movement, then everybody's after the same goal. Nobody wants to harm the other. Like, the best result comes from everybody in the group doing what's best for themselves and the group, and that's what you get with this movement. So as a holder of DJI6930, you're motivated to believe and broadcast. You just have faith and you just tell others about it. And you make it spread across social media. And this is why DJI6930 has got 15,000 holders so far. And why this has spread like wildfire. And why this has achieved a mania phase like Beatlemania in its very early stages. And this is a rare trait in cryptocurrencies because even other cults like ADA, Bitcoin, XRP, they're all player versus player environments. Okay? Everybody wants to win while the other person loses. And that just harvests more gamblers, scalpers, swing traders, KOLs. They're all greedy, money hungry, and all want to win versus everybody else who loses. And that's why DJI6930 sticks why it's done so well so far. $29,999. This is the end goal of Dowge. This is what people believe in. DJI6930's target to flip that Dow Jones index is $29,999. From where it is right now at $40 million market cap, this is a return on investment of 700,000x. If we compare it to SPX 6900, which has got a similar value proposition, but different opponent, which is the Standard & Poor's 500, if this was to achieve the flippening of the SPX, the multiplier would only be 23,000x. So even if SPX 6900 does flip the SPX, the return would be 30x less than if DJI6930 were to flip the Dow Jones. So from a return on investment and movement point of view, DJI6930 wins by a mile. Loose financial targets exist in crypto that really motivate people to join the army of hodlers. So for instance, XRP. Very early on in my crypto investing game, I saw the video XRP to $589, and that has stuck around for years. Now, the cult following of XRP does not care about the fact that this is virtually impossible given the market cap will go into the hundreds of trillions. People have just bought because they think, if this goes to $500, I'm truly rich. And similar financial targets have been there for Bitcoin. Bitcoin to 1 million, Shiba to $1, you know? And this is what inspires people to become part of the army, to strive for that financial target. And that's why DJI6930 is extremely powerful. Because this, although seemingly unrealistic and crazy, is achievable with the power of belief and a collective movement like those that existed in the past. No other crypto meme coins have a financial target. Now, if you've got a financial target, if you aim for the moon, you may at least reach the stars. So if you are going for a delusional target, the eventual outcome will be higher than those that do not have any financial target. So Pepe, Whiff, Fartcoin, Popcat, Mog, now none of these coins have a financial target. Then no holder is striving to achieve something, you know, to achieve a mission, to be part of a significant movement. That doesn't exist elsewhere. And that's why DJI6930 is extremely powerful in this regard. Now, if we compare DJI6930 to the main counterparts that it's competing against, so SPX6900, which is considered that kind of TradFi meme coin, it's already achieved critical mass. Like SPX6900 went from 5 cents about 9 months ago to $1.50 within the space of a month, right? So this has already achieved critical mass. And it's not a microcap. You know, SPX is now $2 billion cryptocurrency, whereas DJI6930 is under 50 million and therefore a microcap. Versus the Dow Jones Index, well, the Dow Jones Index is fully mature, not normie friendly, no spiritual backbone, no meme content, no commercial mascot. Like, this is completely unfriendly to normies. So DJI6930 in comparison is perfect and relatable. Now, Doge is not a movement. It has got a cult community because it's the oldest meme coin that exists, but it's already had critical mass. It's not TradFi friendly. It is a commercial mascot, but it's just mostly meme content, and it's certainly no microcap. This is the most valuable meme coin in the market. DJI6930 shares very similar fundamentals to Bitcoin, as in overthrowing traditional finance. But, you know, Bitcoin has already achieved critical mass. You know, it's not a commercial mascot, no meme content. It isn't really normie friendly. Like, the only reason people invest in Bitcoin is because it's the #1 cryptocurrency, it's the oldest, and it's the one most people talk about. But other than that, there's no real incentive, no real inspiration to be a Bitcoin hodler. Like, the upside is terrible. Obviously, it's absolutely nowhere near a microcap. This is already in the trillions. And then we've got Ondo, which is an RWA coin. And as you can see, DJI6930 also has that exposure, right? So if you wanted exposure to RWA, better with DJI6930 than with Ondo, which is a massive cap cryptocurrency that's not really normie friendly. They'll look at it and they won't understand it. They won't know, you know, what's real world assets. There's just nothing. There's no meme content, nothing that makes it relatable for the normie. All right. So what we've got here is DJI6930 being the best of all worlds, you know, against its main competitors, the main TradFi, the actual traditional finance index, the main meme coin, the main cryptocurrency, the main RWA. DJI6930 has elements of all of them. Dowge, as a meme coin, as a dog mascot, as a Shiba Inu. Shiba Inus have been the face of the most popular meme coins ever. Dogecoin, Bonk, Shiba Inu, Whiff, Manu, Momo, all of the promising coins and all the ones that have done extremely well in the past were all Shiba Inus, right? But this one is distinctive. So all of the Shiba Inus, for Doge, for Bonk, for Shib, for Whiff, Manu, Momo, it's just a Shiba Inu with one head, which is, you know, probably the traditional biological way that a Shiba Inu would look. But with Dowge, what you've got is you've got the Shibarus, right? So the Shibarus is a 3-headed Shiba Inu. Right, so it's a mythical, powerful Shiba Inu. It has evolved from your typical Shiba Inu look, and it's a beast. As you can see, there is very rich meme content. So the memes that you've got of Dowge makes the character and the messaging relatable on so many levels. Being in Dowge means you're against cheating, right? So here's a meme against cheating. You know, Dowge is kind of a religious cult coin. And this meme presents Dowge perfectly within that context. You know, same as here. It's essentially a religion. It's the new Scientology, right? Again, memes communicate Dowge at so many levels. So from being serious, financial, cult-like, to being fun, just like you had with Shiba Inu and Momo and Whiff. You know, like in so many ways, it works as a meme coin. So not only is it a movement and a cult coin at its core, but on its outside appearance, it's a meme coin, which means it's able to present its ideas clearly within memes. And there's lots of versatility. It can be funny, serious, religious and spiritual. So as a meme coin and a TradFi instrument, it works on its main 2 levels. DJI6930 is Bitcoin 2.0. And once upon a time, Bitcoin was 5 cents, as you can see here. And now is worth, you know, nearly $120,000. Now, back here in this picture, you have all of the early pioneers of Bitcoin. Back when Bitcoin was literally a couple of dollars worth. All right, and you had all of these guys who are all famous, iconic people now in cryptocurrency. If you've been in crypto a long time, you'll know all of these guys, right? And this is the same with DJI6930. Like, this is a mission looking to overthrow a huge enemy, which is traditional finance. So Bitcoin's mission was to create an alternative payment system, taking power away from the elites who control money supply and inflation, right? And DJI6930 is the exact same. The mission is against the Dow Jones. It's a call to abandon TradFi investment instruments and become rich by flipping it with DJI6930. And the early Trinite movement, so being a Trinite means you are an evangelist in DJI6930. It reflects that of Bitcoin maximalism. So you'll know Bitcoin maxis, right? Trinites are basically the same, right? It's the same passion. You only have to go on X right now, the way they talk, the consistent messaging, the passion which they talk, the way they like all of each other's posts and retweet all of each other's posts, making these posts go viral, is a modernized version of Bitcoin maximalism. Bitcoin is positioned as digital gold, like the modern day version of gold, whereas DJI6930 is belief gold. So on to the future. Well, we have got a NASDAQ listed company doing what MicroStrategy has done and doing what a lot of these ETF providers have done. So these ETFs allow for people to trade Bitcoin and Ethereum on the stock market. So Everything Blockchain Inc., which is a NASDAQ listed company, is creating an index of meme coins, right? And this is going to include Bonk, Pepe, and SPX6900. The great thing about DJI6930 is that it provides both that mascot appeal of Bonk and Pepe, which they are listing in their treasury, and the TradFi friendliness of SPX. It basically is the perfect contender to be listed in the future. And right now there's only one centralized exchange, which is MEXC, that have listed DJI6930. But eventually, over time, centralized exchanges are going to want to list the most diamond-handed and obsessive communities. Why? Because it's good for their user base. The only reason an exchange lists certain coins is because the volume's high and it seems like there's a huge community. And of course, they want to exploit that and get more user adoption, particularly during the euphoria stages. So as a result of that, I imagine that DJI6930 is going to be listed by more exchanges. And as time goes on, the cult will mature. You know, the people that are cheats are going to be kicked out, and they're not going to be coming back, and that's going to leave the community of holders, believers, and broadcasters, right? So that mindset is only going to permeate. Like, for a cult to really form and have some form of maturity, it needs to have been around 6 months. And at this point, DJI6930 has only been around like 3 weeks. And it's already cultivating a fantastic mindset, right? But it's only going to get better over time as cheats or people that do not correspond with the mindset of DJI6930 are kicked out. And that means over time, people are going to feel a sense of belonging, spiritual fulfillment, it's pre-critical mass, which means the upside's insane, and holders are going to go from poor to rich as DJI6930 goes towards flipping the Dow Jones. Just like early hodlers of SPX6900 are right now, as SPX6900 goes into the billions, right? But as far as I'm concerned, the return on investment is extremely small. From being at 2 billion now, I can't see it doing more than a 10x from where it is right now. Whereas this has got the opportunity to do many hundreds of X's, potentially thousands of X's, from where it is right now. And seeing how the hysteria of DJI6930 has enabled it to grow so quickly in such a short space of time means this only bodes well for the future, as it potentially does get listed just like SPX6900. This is why DJI6930, in my opinion, has the potential to go from 4 cents to $29,999. So if you want to be a Trinite and join DJI6930, then there are just some guiding principles. Buy, believe, and broadcast. Stop trading and just believe. Choose belief over greed. Don't gamble, just hold. And it's no player versus player, no gambling, no trading, no TA, no exit target, no paid chills. It's just purely believe, and believe always. I hope you enjoyed this video about DJI6930. I hope that it motivated you to see the promise of DJI6930 and why I believe this one is going to be a smash hit meme stroke cult stroke movement coin for 2025 and early 2026 and beyond. Till next time, people, I've been the Suppoman. You have been amazing. It's lights out, all out.